Hey everyone, welcome to the live broadcast. My name is Josh. If you are new here, I am an entrepreneur and co-founder of List Easier, and we are doing the $100 million challenge. Not even a challenge, it's the road to 100 million. This is going down. It's happening. So let's get into our live chat. We got a lot to talk about today. I have a great topic for today, inspired by Kevin, Commonwealth picker, and we are entitling it Kevin's $100,000 bet. And I'm excited to talk about this. Now, I gotta take off the volume. We're ready to go. People are showing up. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. eBay's been busy. Sales have been busy on my own personal account. Everything has been busy. So we start with the document, Road to 100M, a 9-year project where we build our listings up to $100 million. This is exciting. It's on track. I feel good. We're rolling. Okay, so what does this look like? What's happened in the last 24 hours? On my end of things, a lot of work in documentation. So again, this is, for me, the first time ever started a corporation with shareholders and everything else. The document, here we are. But this requires a lot of documentation, which I've been working on. And admittedly, I'm probably about 5 months behind, but a lot of this stuff, in my defense, I didn't even know we needed. So I'm really spending a lot of time to make sure that all the X's, all the check marks, T's, I's, everything is taken care of, and it is done the way it should be, because I want everything above board. So as we're above board with the document, I want the same with our documentation of what's happening and what's going on. When you have a corporation with shareholders, that goes beyond simply bookkeeping. So it's not just a matter of bookkeeping and then submitting to the accountant. There's things that you have to do on a monthly basis, like shareholder meetings, board resolutions, just all the documentation. It's all gonna happen. So that's the thing that's going on. That's the big thing in the last 24 hours. The other thing is Spencer the Oracle has burned through these records in a hurry. So I was back there. I'm looking at what we have left in the records. There's probably another, I want to say 1,000 or so, 500 to 1,000, but she's through 75% of them easily. The stuff that we have queued up is gone. This has happened very quickly. It's very, very fast. So, which is incredible. It's awesome. And, no complaints. There's lots of stuff still to move forward, but this warehouse is about to get very full because we have a lot of things coming and going over the next couple of days. So that is Super Dave's department. That's his thing. He's very good at it. So that's what's going down in the next couple of days here. Lots coming in, lots going, but probably more coming in than going. And there was a launch. So for List Easier, the software, there was a launch. This is an improvement launch for UK and Australia that happened overnight. So if you are a UK and Australia user, and this will maybe even affect some US sellers, but if you are a user in either of those countries, you use List Easier, you'll see a noticeable improvement overnight. But also this will impact some US sellers. Again, account structure is different for everyone. So there are things that will affect one person that doesn't affect 1,000 others. So we have to isolate and find those things and then adjust software on the back end to fit those accounts as well. So you'll see that push through. A lot of you are going to see market improvement because of it. And we're going to continue to do these things. We're enjoying it. We're liking the problems. We're liking the problem solving. That's also occurred in the last 24 hours. Let's get into the numbers. I'm looking at the California coast here, and I just recognize it right away that it's Big Sur, and I miss it. So I'm looking at it. I got to block it out of my site because I love it there so much. The document, 2 accounts, List Easier _books and List Easier _records. You can go and add us, watch us. You're able to do that on eBay. If you go to eBay and search a seller, List Easier _records or List Easier _books, you can add us as a favorite seller and you can follow us and you can see these items go up and you can hold us to account and make sure that we're doing what we're saying we're doing, or just do it out of interest. You can see what's selling, what's not, and all these other things. So come check us out there on eBay. How many listings have we listed? 5,023 listings. Unbelievable. It is truly incredible. We've hit a milestone for us. This is a celebration milestone. So if there's any way to make it so that the animation of things falling down, celebration emoji, yay, or whatever it is, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've listed $113,629.77 worth of stuff in the document. And we've done that in 17 days. So we've crossed the $100,000 mark of listed items. Big celebration. That gets us to 0.1% of our goal. 0.1% of our goal, and we've done it in 17 days. So this is a huge milestone. We're super happy. We're all kind of celebrating that today. Yay, we did it. We got this far, but we are very early in our journey. We haven't even stepped on the first rung of the ladder, so there's still a lot to do. We've been live for 17 days, a little over 2 weeks, many days in that where weekends, vacation, all these other things, but 17 days live. This is a lot. 113,000 listed in 17 days is absolutely incredible. And our total revenue is $3,625. Of course, this is all in USD. So awesome. Awesome. Let's get into the topic. You all know Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, Kevin, Commonwealth Flipper, Garage Sale Nation. I would say probably, as far as I am concerned, he's one of the larger influencers out there because he is so everywhere. Facebook, TikTok, multiple YouTube accounts. So he's a very familiar face in the community. He is taking a $100,000 bet, and this is largely on List Easier, where he's going to build a warehouse and get a van, and he's going to, these are by his own words, build shelving, build SKUs, and really ramp this thing up so that it really cash flows a lot of money back. I will extrapolate something here. The reason he is doing that is because he sees a very rare opportunity. Both him and I we're around the same age. When you get to your 40s, sometimes earlier, you realize that big opportunities only come along a few times in your life. So his words, he wants to take advantage of it. He knows that this is an opportunity. He's going to invest time and money into it. He knows what the future looks like for his business, and he's going for it. So Kevin, I want to say out there, we support you 100%. Anything you need from the software, you let us know, and we got your back. Very rare. Like, you will see people promote software or promote stuff online. You'll see them promote it and maybe use it a little bit, but very rare where you see someone changing their entire life because they see such a huge opportunity in something like List Easier. And very thankful. We don't take that lightly. That's a huge responsibility. I'm super excited to see Kevin's journey. We're doing it with him. So this is us too. I mean, we have a lot of investment in this and making sure that this works, building this business. We're excited for it. It feels right. The path that we are on, the results we are seeing, it all feels right. And we will continue to work very closely with eBay to ensure that our software optimizes their ecosystem. So eBay is giving us this beautiful house, and we are decorating it, basically. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so that is the big topic. I want you all to kind of, weigh in. What do you think about this, Kevin, building this up like this? We are at a kind of fork in the road where for a long time, there was a lot of kind of somberness, malaise in the reselling community. All these things, these updates on the platform, and all these things were happening. And that there is a very small number of people that are saying it's not the results I'm experiencing right now. I'm actually experiencing a lot of abundance. The future looks very bright. I am hopeful. I like what the future holds. And when people start feeling that, they start putting money uh, into that perception. And we are the same way. So the best time to do it is when you come down out of that bad time. So we had that emotional spike and that crazy, and everything was selling right up until 2021. We had 3 or 4 years on the way down. It's bad. It's not really working. Things are slow. Lots of trolls online. You see people losing their businesses. And now we are starting to just come out of the bottom, and we're going to have that boom phase again. Now, the great thing for the businesses that survived the down part and now are investing in all this technology and infrastructure and are going to take advantage of this boom, as Kevin is, as we are, as many of you are in the chat, the advantage is twofold. First of all, you're catching it at the start. So you know when it starts, and you're catching it at the start, you're investing at the start, and you're taking advantage of the growth that's going to be occurring over the next 5 years or so. 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is. You will also recognize when things get into mania. So when you feel like all you hear from everyone is how good it is, and everyone's taking screenshots and everyone's going nuts, and it's all, nothing can go wrong, this is amazing, oh my God, and the whole community, and you're getting tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of views on your video, and everyone, this is so easy to make money. When that happens, you recognize that as time to pull back. You know, let's kind of tighten things up. It's 5 years away, at least. I believe that. 5 to 7 years. It's a long ways away. It's going to take a long time for everyone to get into this and start adopting it. So you've got a huge head start. But in 5 or 7 years, the defense is recognize when it gets into mania and crazy like that, and then start saying, hold on a second. Something might be happening here. Maybe we should ride it out. Because then that's not the time to invest $100,000 in a shed or a barn or a warehouse. You know, that's the wrong time. That's the top. That's where you're going to get burned. This is where you plant the seed, because you know now is spring. Now is the spring of it all. You don't plant seeds in winter or in fall. You plant it in the spring, you let the tree grow, and then you eat the fruits. So that's what I want to say about what Kevin's doing. I would come out here and say, you know, or I would contact him and be like, hey, Kevin, I don't know if this is a good idea. I think it is a very good idea, and we are doing the exact same thing because we believe it too. The bottom is in. It's a little bit behind us. It's growth time, baby. And if everyone doesn't see it, that's up to them. But for us, the document, it's growth time. We're not the only ones saying this. It is time to grow. We are like a coiled spring and we're off. A lot of other people are doing it, but fractionally, if you look at the larger group of resellers, it's less than 1%. It's probably like 0.1% or 0.01%. It's a very small number. It's only a very small number of YouTube resellers who watch YouTube. You know, it's only a very small number of those who, you know, trust the new technology enough to jump in. It's only a very small number who actually want to commit to this. It's only a very small number who are willing to see it through. So that as that you go through all those gates, the numbers get smaller and smaller and smaller. There's a lot of people wait for social proof, but once the social proof is there, and I liken this to silver right now, everyone's telling me to invest in silver right now. You got to invest in silver. Look at the price. It's crazy. It's over $100. You have to invest. And all I hear is in my head, no, the time to buy it was at like $18, $15, $14, $12. You know, when you look at the chart and it goes vertical, that's not the time. So I say, I wouldn't be buying right now. I would be enjoying the fruits of the seed you planted. Now is not the time to plant that tree. This is the same with AI now. This is brand new. You know, it's not even 6 months old. Like, it's just starting. So now's the time where you plant the seeds, not in 5 years from now when your neighbor is saying, hey, have you heard about this new online reselling thing where you can use AI to do everything for you? Or when the big corporations catch on and they start building 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 accounts on List Easier, or whatever software is out then in 5 years. We're going to be there. We'll be there, but whoever else is there, whatever they decide, because they see they can make billions of dollars using it. It's not the time. Miss the opportunity. Now is the opportunity. That's what I wholeheartedly believe. And am I just saying it? You're just saying it, Josh. Of course you're going to say that. It's your company. We're doing it. I wrapped up a company with $2.5 million worth of inventory. I don't list on that anymore. I killed myself. You saw my blood, sweat, and tears. That thing is winding down because I know this is the real opportunity, is this business. This is going to be really big. Okay. Welcome, everyone. So that was my talk. Kevin, you inspired me today. You did with that video. Classic Phase says hello. Hello, Classic Phase. Good to see you. Eric Gunther 45 says howdy, howdy, howdy. Eric, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. John J. UK says, hey, Josh, I hope you're keeping busy. I am. I'm very busy. Very busy. I have come, John, so far in my journey. I have no formal education in accounting or anything. I have come so far in my journey from my very first business, not even understand, like it was so overwhelming. I was so frustrated. I didn't know how to do bookkeeping or anything, to a lot of this like really, I think, advanced kind of accounting. I've learned so much. So that is what's keeping me busy. That's the flavor of the moment for me now until I get that all complete, because I feel like I'm behind and I don't like that feeling. But I'm very busy, John. Thank you. Andy Rito says, what's going on, Mr. Galt? Just checking in. Welcome, 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 Andy. Good to see you. Where Pigs Fly Farm says hello from Missouri. Hope all is okay with Josh. All is well, Cindy. Thank you for checking in today. Hope all is well with you and you're getting those sales. MK3914 says hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Primo Chemo says the document, this schniz. The document is the schnoz, the schniz, and the schnaz. The document. David Varner says, hello, David. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dende Cordipo says, good day, Josh. Hope all is well in the frozen tundra. It's a little warmer today. You know, yesterday was, I don't know, like 5 or 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Something around, I don't know exactly because I got to do the conversion, but somewhere around there. But it was still kind of nice when the wind died down because the sun was out, and it was a nice day yesterday at the end. Kenneth Oros says, good morning. Good morning to you, Kenneth. Welcome, welcome. Mike's Seller from South Dakota. Good morning, Josh and chat. Welcome, Mike. Good to see you. J.R. Rodeffer says, in the Tesla, gotta stop to run list easier. There we are. Double multitasking. J.R. Rodeffer multitasking. Stop the car, send the listings live, and get going again. Right on. Amazon Seller 99 says, welcome, or hey, Josh. Welcome, Amazon Seller. Good to see you. Eric Bressy from Ohio says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. The Upstate Picker says, afternoon, working on listing, but getting some error generating listing errors, several items per batch. Can you do the Control-Shift-R and see if that's it? Because we pushed an update yesterday just to make sure that that's not the issue, Upstate Picker. If you're still something going on, contact customer support through the profile tab and they will set you up. Just say, hey, I talked to Josh. I don't know what's going on here, but they did push a big update through yesterday. Lag says hello. Hello, Lag. Good to see you. David Varner says, any progress with the disappearing photos when items are ended? Last time I ended 100 listings, 81 of them were missing photos. This is eBay's thing. So we've contacted eBay about it. They are like, we know it's an issue. We're working on it. Basically, stay out of it. So this is a hosting thing on their end. We have not been able to reproduce this error across any of our accounts. We haven't had this issue. So nothing yet. But I would just say, if you are ending and selling similar or ending and relisting, just, do small batches. And if you see that, if you've done it always successfully and then one day it's not working, you lose your photos, don't do it times 1,000 or 10,000. Just like maybe that day, don't do it, and just to see what's going on their servers, because they are making a lot of changes. Eric Bressi says, I know it's a low number, but to some, I know it's a low number to some, but to me it's huge. Hit first 190 days on my second store. Let's go. So you did $100, your first $100 in your 90-day total. Oh, are you? I don't understand what you're saying there, Eric. You're gonna have to you hit your first 190-day on my second store. I don't understand what you're saying. You're gonna have to rephrase it. Way to go, Spencer, says classic phase. Yeah, she's crushing it. Crushing it. Eric Bressi says, I love the new dashboard update. It's showing the listing total and total listed value. Yeah, that's awesome. That was a nice little nice to have. And it's motivating. So, let's see if we can get this month's number higher than last month's number. And it's nice to see what you've done. It is nice to see what you've done. Mike Seller says, thanks to the team for putting the total listed value on the dashboard. Look at you all. You guys like a challenge. You want to see the results of your effort, and you want to see that number so you can beat it. I like it. Kenneth says, I really wish him success. David Varner says, that is 81 lost photos when I tried to sell similar on 100 items. Just be careful, David, with end and sell similar. I don't like it. We don't do it, but just be careful. Just be careful is all I'm saying. They know that there's an issue. It's documented in their technical issues form or whatever. So I don't know what resolution is going to come of that, because at the end of the day, although we work very closely with them, we can't see, what they're doing on their platform. They'll never tell us, as far as their stack is concerned, what's happening, what they're doing with their servers. They'll never tell us that. Amazon 99 says, big question is, what is Kevin going to do with his cabin? The man cave? I think I think this is my own opinion, Amazon seller. And Kevin, I'm going to send you an email if you're not watching this, because I do want you to know that I'm talking about you. So I'm going to put it out there after I do this, because I hate it when you don't like to get surprised that someone's talking about you this whole time and you didn't even know about it, and then you get surprised afterwards. But I think the existing cabins are going to be the same. So that's part of that. That is almost a set now. He uses it for his eBay business, of course. He has a listing shed that Jess uses, but I think that is now part of the set of his, who he is and how people recognize him. I personally think this other building is going to turn into a warehouse, like strictly a warehouse, maximized in size, and it's just shelving and items. That's what I think he's going to do there. Because you guys all know, I mean, especially him, he's multiple employees, multiple operations. His whole family is involved. He has, the studios and everything else. And as you grow, you need space to grow into. So good for him. I'm excited to see it happen. But that's my opinion on that. Andy says one of the cabins is going to be dedicated to Didbit. 100%. 100%. Yeah. He did a video today, by the way, so everyone can check that out. And I think everyone should be talking about this, because these are major moves that people are making. We've seen lots of videos of people talking about, fee increase here, USPS increase there. Bolo, look for this item, find better items, find more items that are better, all these things. But these are major moves, building big pieces of infrastructure, all that other stuff. These are major moves that some people, this is a major move. I love seeing that. I love seeing that. Scott Bearded Picker is another one. These major moves that people are making, I like seeing that. So I think everyone should be talking about that. Like, hey, people are making big moves here in this community. What's going on? That's super interesting. It outranks, for me, it outranks a lot of the other things that are being talked about right now. Lucky Fine says, good afternoon. Flex is working great. Sold 2 items for my 15-year-old boy within 7 hours. Now he has more money to invest. Thank you. That's awesome, Lucky Finds. And congrats to your boy on his first sales. He's going to be hooked. Your 15-year-old would pick this up very quickly. My 9-year-old daughter, she's 10 now, but my 9-year-old daughter did a lot of the listings for me. I would just review them afterwards to make sure that there were no, mistakes, but she did a ton of it for me. Certainly at 15, he's old enough now that he could start his own thing if he wanted to, So I think that's a great life lesson for kids, is to learn the basics of a business, because you can carry that the rest of your life. And it's very rewarding. Joe Samard says, hello all. Welcome, Joe. Eric Bresci says, that would be awesome to use List Easier on the browser inside the Tesla. Eric, you are the tech entrepreneurial king when it comes to weaving this technology into new systems. So if anyone can do it, it's you. I saw that you had used it with a VR. You were listing through List Easier using a VR headset. I don't think that's ever been done before. That's awesome. I think you're the only one. Luke Coin says, same question. Any payouts from eBay yet? No. It would be nice, though, if some of this started showing up in our accounts, Lou, or Charlie, but not yet. No, nothing. Not yet. Hopefully soon. Eric Bresci says, imagine sitting at the charger listing 100 items before your car is charged to 100%. Like, talk about multitasking. Instead of playing around on your phone or sleeping, you just crush the listings. Like says, built a bot to automate from the second my pictures are taken to run List Easier. I just take pictures all day. Could you imagine? I think these, honestly, Lag, it's these kinds of integrations that really are advancing the whole thing very quickly. We're talking about a packing solution here. You can't see it, but the machinery, can you see it if I go like this? See that piece of machine right there? There. So that is that's automated packing. We're talking about that as well, just so that not that much time is spent packing items. So it's exciting. Eric, you have to translate that to Canadian, eh? Adolf Muskel says, please make List Easier available in Germany. That is a tall order, Adolf. The thing with Germany is the language, right? So it's one thing to make language adjustments when it comes to the front end. With Australia, the UK, and Canada, we're familiar because we are Canadian, so we can, we print and write in British English, so we are aware of these changes, and even that has come back to haunt us a little bit because we missed a few, and customers have reached out and said, hey, it should be gray instead of gray, like the spelling's a little bit different, or it should say trousers instead of pants. Like, these little things show up. In German, ich kann Deutsch sprechen, aber nicht so gut. Die anderen 2 kann nicht Deutsch sprechen. Und das ist ein großes Problem. So, huge problem that nobody can speak German. Nobody can, write or do any of the front end in German. And then when errors come back, like, how do we connect to the German site when all the stack is in German? This is a huge problem. It would require native German speakers and native German developers to build that infrastructure for us, number one. And for us to do that, we have to expose our stack to them, which is a huge risk, right? We protect our stack. Like, anyone finds out how List Easier works, if they copy it, they can just basically create another version of us. We don't want that. So that's the big thing there, Adolf. Southern Vermont Vintage says, peace, green heart, peace, green heart, prayer, muscle. And to you as well, Southern Vermont, good to see you. Adam in a good mood with 3 stars says, happy Wednesday, Josh. I trust all is swell with you. All is swell with me. I hope you're doing well. I trust that you are. I trust that you are with all those stars there and that you're progressing along fantastically. We're all thinking about you. Eric Bressie says, what was the hot topic video yesterday? I couldn't find it. I did watch it yesterday, and I thought to myself after I watched the whole video, and I thought, I don't really feel anything. Like that didn't elicit any sort of any response, and I talked to the guys a little bit about it yesterday. And I'm just like, okay. I don't know. So, I don't even know what to say. Your second store. Okay, I got you, Eric. So your second store hit a $100 90-day total. You went from 0 to 100. You're in the first step. There you go. So in the ladder, in the staircase, you've climbed the first stair. Next one's 1,000, then 10,000, then 100,000. I got you. I missed some comments here because we jumped. YouTube or Tube Addict 11 says, hello all. Hey Josh, how's it going? List easier changed my outlook on life at 55 years old. That's a big statement, Tube Addict, but that is awesome. Being in a rut for the last few years and List Easier has made me realize the opportunity in front of me, and I'm going for it. Too excited to be here. A lot of people feeling that. First of all, the rut, Tube Addict. A lot of people have felt the rut because it's real. You're not imagining that. When you go from having everyone in the country as a captured buyer with no ability to shop anywhere else but online, and a flood of new resellers who are looking to top up income or whatever the case may be, that's like the mania phase. That's when a lot of people joined up. And then we got into the bad years, the troubles, high interest rates, high inflation, supply chain disruption. You all remember that stuff going on where the ships were outside of the country waiting to get in. Political disruption, tariffs, fee increases. eBay was late to the party. When they saw everybody making money, they raised their prices. The thrift stores, all these places that everyone was finding the cheap stuff from, they were like, we got to keep these profits in-house. Look at these videos. They're putting us on blast 24/7. They raised their prices. Party's over. Now it's not fun and it's hard. And we're in a bit of a supply overhang where lots of people doing this, too many for the number of actual buyers out there. So we had to go through the pain of all of that. So what you were feeling was a very real thing. And that went on. That's what happens after mania. They call it the hangover. You're at the party, you're drinking all night, you're having a blast. You go to bed at 3:00. You have to get up for 5:30 for work. That's the hangover part. That's what we went through over the past 3 or 4 years. But now the hangover is worn off. And we're like, okay, this isn't a permanent state. We're going to do this all over again. This is going to turn into a party again, but we're just getting started. And the future is bright. This is new. It is bright. Everyone's saying hi to Adam. Hope Adam's doing well. 10 Hemlock says, good afternoon. Went to an estate sale this morning and picked up a collection of first edition Stephen King novels. Boom. I've sold first edition novels for, I don't know if the prices are still like this, but for $200 or $300. Modern ones. I don't know what they all go for, but I don't. They're modern though, and they sold for really good money. Also, some of the early ones in hardback, like I think Christine, I sold for a lot in the past. Thinner, Pet Sematary, which by the way, I don't know why, but for me, that was the most unsettling out of all the Stephen King novels. Magic Aces 39.79. I love it. When I'm listing vintage books with List Easier, I have noticed that the title will be either 62 or 63 characters. Should I add to the title to get it closer to 80 characters? You can if you want. It's not going to impact it. So what List Easier is doing is it's optimizing, right? So it's taking what has historically sold, historically what users have looked for. So it's taking these huge sample sizes, and then in those big sample sizes, it's looking for commonality. Commonly, the items that sold versus the ones that never did, what do the ones that sold have in common? On the AI side of things, what is the AI looking for? What does it want? And then it will put that first. What does eBay want to move this item up to the top in searchability, surfaceability, rank, all that other stuff? So this is what List Easier is doing in its back end. It's making all these calculations and determinations, and then it's presenting you the optimized title. No guesswork. If you want to add stuff on, it's not going to hurt it. Like for eBay, it's really what's in the beginning of the title that's most important. It's not going to hurt it. If you add, I don't know, will it make it better? If a buyer looks at your title and then sees at the very end that it says Granny Core, they're like, oh, this is Granny Core, I'm going to buy it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It's probably not going to, I hate to say it, help too much, but List Easier is taking all information about that item that basically has ever existed that it has access to, and doing a calculation to determine how to optimize it. And that's not only just in title, but in description as well. And then, of course, in the item specifics. So if you want to add to that, add to it. But I always say to people, don't delete. Don't delete a title unless there's something abhorrently wrong. And sometimes that happens, right? There are edge cases. But don't delete a title and then just do it your own way. Then you're going to have a huge impact. But you want to throw a couple words at the end? Go for it. One thing I will say, please don't ever do, even though you may feel better about it, don't put SKU numbers in titles. Don't put emojis. Don't put @ symbols or, any weird characters in there. Don't put stuff you're not supposed to put in there, like new or I don't know, free shit. I don't know about free shit. I shouldn't say that one. But these things that don't really have anything to do with the item, that impacts it. Don't put that stuff in there. I see people, sometimes they put look with the 2 @ signs and then the K. They're putting that in the title. It has nothing to do with the item. And because of that, it's going to impact your rank. The argument always is, and you've unlocked something, Magic Aces. It's, stream of consciousness now. The argument always is, well, when the buyer sees the L @ K, which says look, and it looks like 2 eyeballs looking, when the buyer sees that, Josh, it draws their eye to the listing. And my counter argument to that is, if they ever see it, they're not going to see it because you're not going to rank, because that is something that has nothing to do with the item and you'll just get passed over. So just be mindful of that when you add anything in. You want to put cottage core at the end, granny core, or something like that, embroidered if it missed that word, or dusty rose because that's the color, whatever, like go for it. But don't put your email address in, or 676767, like, you know what I mean? So okay, Josh, you're getting off topic. Smarten up. Eric Bressy says, prompt the LLMs to learn to speak German fluently. The German site, any errors that we get, and eBay is fantastic. It is a fantastic, beautiful palace made of marble. But when something breaks or something doesn't fit properly, it's usually requiring like a big rebuild. So when a large piece of carved marble chips, you have to recarve the whole marble statue, which is fine. We just got to know what the problem is, and eBay will let us know. Like, here's the problem, and this is why it didn't work. If the German were, the error handling was like, how are you today? Like, wie geht es dir? Then of course, like that, I can have that conversational German. But extremely complicated technical problems, none of us have those language skills. There's no way it would be very difficult. So I would say the German site is down the line for us, but it would be extremely difficult. It'd be extremely difficult. Record Crate says, thanks, Josh. Hi, Mike Seller. Good to see you, Adam, as always. Eric Bressi says, there's an old church building that's for sale, $120,000. I wish I could snag it, have a used bookstore and eBay business in the back next to a coffee shop. That's the dream. That's the dream. I think, Eric, we got to go the hard route. Like everybody else, you start in your house, and then it takes up your garage, and it takes up your basement, and then you get a storage unit. Like, you have to go through all those growth phases. And I think, I did it myself. I just think that's the path for all of us as we build our revenues. But that is a cozy, if you ever build that, I will be there. I'm having coffee there. Just learn how to do that little leaf in the foam. And I'm there. Because I love it when they put those details on the coffee. B-Nude says, hello, good to see you, B-Nudes. Yeah, Diane Vanderlinden says, when I see that, I don't look. So you saw it, but you're not going to look. You know what? I'm not looking at that. Look works on me. I have look. I have to look. Sometimes I search look. Jovial Juggler says, hi to Record Crate. But you would be surprised, Lag. It's funny, but when you have, let's say you take 3,000 people, 4,000 people, let's say, 4,000 people, and you give them, like, build it software for them to use. Not all those 4,000 people are going to use the software in a logical way, right? So you have to build guardrails, and there's certain guardrails you can't build, and sometimes it just surprises you because you hear it back in the in the customer support, and you're surprised that even happened. Like, people saying, hey, if you want to get free shipping on this item, contact me, and they'll put their phone number in the condition description, and you're like, why are you doing that? You're jeopardizing your whole eBay account. Don't put your phone number and contact me in the condition description. Now, eBay has guardrails because they've seen it so many times that they block that. But from our point of view, someone will reach out and say, the listings wouldn't go live. Why? And we go look into their account, and we're like, after a while, we're like, dude, are you putting your phone number and your email and your, like, all your address and everything in the condition description? I'm like, yeah. It's so I can get around eBay fees. And we're like, you can't do that. But people, when you have these users, and eBay must just have it with millions of users, not everybody does it the same way, and people will try and find ways around. And it's really interesting because for all these edge cases, you have to build the guardrails, and it's kind of fun. Sometimes it's kind of fun. I think one of the really interesting things with List Easier is that, you learn that there's different connectivity with different accounts, and then you have to build for that as well, for these outside edge cases. So, like in the chat here, you'll say someone will say, I couldn't send my seashells listing live. Why? And then somebody else will say, oh, all my seashell listings go live. And then, they'll come back and say, why aren't my seashell listings going live? And then you find some small little thing that has to do with the age of their account and their connectivity. And that is the little thing that has to be changed. And then they can do it too. It's super interesting. It also gives me confidence that a lot of people won't be able to build this software to this scale because every day it's one of those little things. So if you want to build, something like List Easier, you have to find all those puzzle pieces and go through all that too. Each edge case, each individual case, and then build this huge back-end stack to adjust for one tiny little change, that's different in only 1 out of 1,000 accounts. And it's super interesting and super cool. Lag and everybody's talking back and forth. Eric Bresci says, God's will, that is my plan. Hands off the wheel, man. Just press the gas and go for it. J.R. Rodeffer says, for your information, List Easier Flex will run in a Tesla. You just proved my point, JR. You just proved my point. Like, how many people are using List Easier in a Tesla while charging it? So we might get, and this is what I mean, we might get a customer support ticket saying that, hey, I do listings in my Tesla while it's charging. But I noticed that when I list, I don't know, a remote control, that it's pushing it back saying that there's an error. And then we're like, okay, wow, apparently if you list with a Tesla through the API, it needs to have this little change for remote controls. How cool. That's so cool. It is super cool. But that's an example of people like way outside using the software. Somebody once said to me that they were watching me on their fridge. So probably someone's going to try and use List Easier on their fridge. Like it's not outside the realm of possibility. And there may be an error code and they may contact customer support. And then we got to fix something so that they can list on their fridge. It's super cool. It's crazy and cool. I'm going to get to the rest of this. For your information, says J.R. Rodeffer, List Easier Flex does run on my Tesla in Chrome on Linux. I created a Flex batch, edited photos, used Price Easier, but all the other drop downs do not work. When is Tesla support coming? See? See? That's crazy. So this is something that we'll probably have to look at some point. Like, hey, because that is maybe the future. That's so cool. It's so wild. I find it so fun and fascinating. It's so fascinating. It really is. Everybody's saying hi. Record Crate says, Lag, I have something to share with you. Will you reach out to spam? Oh, Lag's identity might be compromised here. Lag says, I was putting my phone in my description, but Josh fixed it for me. Dbach10 says, got 444 listings left on my 3,000 from List Easier. You just got that too. Dbach, we talked about this last week, I think. Had 83 orders over a 3-day weekend, 18 going out today. Stuff is selling like hotcakes. That's the optimization, baby. Chris from Buck Mountain Barn, I saw him on, I think it's the Reseller Leftovers podcast, right? Great bunch of guys. Brad, Corey, Chris, sometimes Beard comes on there. And he was like, I don't know if you watch Chris, right? He's a great guy, but he's always kind of been like, oh, I'm going to get to it when I get to it. No. And then he used it, List Easier, and he's like, well, I can't believe it. I did my whole week's of listings in 20 minutes. And that's it. That's exactly what it is. It's awesome. So good for you, D-Bach. I love getting that. I love it. There, Record Crate says, or Lag says, thank you, Record Crate, but I'm unable. Can't give up the info. Lag is a mystery wrapped in an enigma. She or he is someone you will never solve. All Lag's gifts have to arrive digitally. Lag says, I watched Josh on my robot. Okay, you want to hear something? This is giving away stuff. maybe. But let's not say this isn't giving away stuff. Let me not phrase it that way. Future prediction. Within a year, the first people will be contacting us through List Easier, requesting integrations for something like a Tesla robot, where they just want the robot to do everything. Within a year, that's coming for us. People are going to reach out and say, can you provide an integration for a robot to do it? That's how quickly it's moving. It's not something to be afraid of. I actually think that, other than the fact that the robot could work 24/7, I think that it's the technology, it's the process that's really the advantage. But that's coming, and it's just so cool and interesting. It's such a great time to be alive, to be working on these problems, like right at the front. It's incredible. Okay. Art by Axe says, hey, Josh, if I have to add photos to a listing made by Flex, do I need to sell similar and add them when I relist? If I have to add photos to a listing made by Flex, do I need to sell similar and add them? I think you can end it and then add the photos afterwards. I think that's how, I don't know. Spam did that a few times. I don't know how she did it. I think if you end it, you can add the photos, like and then sell similar off the ended listing. You can add the photos or whatever. But for me, I would just take the time. I know this isn't answering your question, but I would just take the time to make sure that everything in the photos, everything in the description, all that stuff is exactly the way you want it. You're happy with it, and then move it through generation. So I understand that there are things where people are like, you're like, oh, I forgot to add the measurements or whatever. But for everyone else out there, take the time to do the photos that you want, have them the way you want, and then put it through the List Easier machine and let it spit out, results on the other end. But art specifically, I think if you end it, sell similar off the ended listing, you can populate it with photos and you're good to go. Classic Face says, List Easier is like having a new toy every day. It's so exciting, fun, and learning something new every day. I'm in my 70s and loving List Easier. Heart, and 3 stars. That's awesome, Classic Phase. Yeah, it is. It's a jump. It's crazy. It's wild. It's exciting. 100%. James says, speaking of Tesla, I think SpaceX should become publicly traded this year. Waiting to buy into that. You know what? I was thinking about that the other day, James, about SpaceX. I know it's going to be huge and everything, but that is like one of SpaceX and OpenAI are two companies that have had so much private investment. Like they've raised billions and billions and billions of dollars. And that's all. I just feel like whenever that happens and then it goes public, all those people who sat on all that investment, those hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investment that were locked in for 10 years, once that goes public, the stock, they're dumping it on the public shareholders, which are people like you and me. We don't have access to $1 billion to invest in SpaceX 5 years ago, which actually gives us a good piece of equity, like 1% or 2% equity. So I'm always concerns me when I see these big, huge, massive companies before they go public. I'm like, what is your cap table? You're probably loaded down with hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investment. All those people need to get paid once you launch publicly. Lag is digital. Dbach10 says, Josh, I used to watch your lives when you were alone. Your demeanor from then to now is such a difference. You're much happier. Oh, Dbach, when I first started this, I was going through the growing pains. I call it pain for a reason. So those first years, that a lot of people have to go through that, where you second guess yourself. You think to yourself, I'll never be able to get to where I want to go. Small problems feel like mountains. You're doing everything yourself. The people around you notice a change in you. Like, hey, you used to have a lot more free time. Like, are you sure you should be doing this? Because it seems like you're spending all your time on it and you're not really getting anywhere. So, and you have to be like, no, there's a vision and I see it. But you're in those first 3 years and every dime is going back into the business and there's crap, it feels like everywhere, and you're refining your systems all the time. And every return, every customer complaint, every negative feedback feels like a bullet. I tried so hard. Why did you? All those things. That is a hard 3 years. But once you get past that 3 years, the clouds start to part a little bit. Things, that were big problems before, they're not big problems anymore. You start learning how to handle things a bit better. Financially, cash flows a little bit better, so you can enjoy yourself a little bit more. I think a big thing too, Debach, is that for all of us here, that first 3 years, we had to do it the hard way. We had to work through that the hard way, and those were 12, 14 hours days. Now, those 3 years can be compressed into, I don't know, a year, 9 months, 6 months. If you watch Beard and you listen to what he says, you read between the lines, he's very quickly built a business out of nothing in about 5 or 6 months' time. So the 3-year painful gate is compressed. Some pain still remains in that learning period. You got to put your 10,000 hours in. That you have to. That's why they always say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. If you are working your butt off, you're putting in 3,000 hours a year. That's what I did in my career. I was doing 3,000 hour years. It's probably what most of you have been doing in eBay. It takes 3 years. If you're doing 3,300 hours a year, it's 3 years. You do your 10,000 hours, you get your mastery. So J.R. Rodeffer is charging the car, doing the listings on the Tesla with List Easier, then saving the listings so that once he gets back to the computer, he can send them live. J.R. Rodeffer is in his 70s, I believe. So everyone out there who's making excuses, it's too complicated, our man JR is building listings in a Tesla on List Easier. Missy B says, I have had to replace photos in the listing. I didn't have to end, but it did have to replace all of them. Fair enough. J.R. Rodeffer says, got home, edited those listings, those flex listings with the drop downs, and apply all, and it listed correctly on eBay. I volunteered to beta test my Tesla Optimus humanoid robot on List Easier. Awesome. Want to advertise on my Charlotte Robo-Taxi network. That would be cool, actually. Beanut says, yep, they say cash flow biz by year 4. It's completely self-sustaining or it's a failure. Yes. Bank assets exceed inventory and all expenses. Yeah, if you are consistently building and learning is the caveat to that. But I agree. If you are consistently building and learning, a lot of people go in bursts. So I'm going to do this. Here I go. 2 weeks later, I'm burnt out. I need a week off. And it's that up and down and up and down and up and down. But the general direction is a horizontal plane. If you have the discipline to keep going every single day, today sucks, but you know what? I can solve this. And you just keep moving forward. The trajectory is slowly up. But that up, as you start implementing certain processes and start solving certain bottlenecks with your business, that linear up starts going exponential as you do this longer and longer. But you have to be consistent and disciplined, and you have to be working towards, I don't want to say your why, but logically you have to be working towards a streamlined business that's competitive, as in outcompetes anyone who's trying to do the same thing that you're doing. Here's the thing. If you have a reselling business, an eBay reselling business, The way to succeed is by two ways, kind of. Building a brand with your items, so you can rebrand your items, and then you push that brand out, or you do it faster, cheaper, smarter, better. Like, you have to outcompete. Otherwise, if you're doing what everybody else is doing and you don't have some sort of competitive advantage, you'll get the same results as everyone else. If you have a competitive advantage that nobody else is using, you will outcompete them. That's what the advantage does. With that, they're not back from lunch, but that's it for me. Everyone, document out. Appreciate you all. We will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Keep building those businesses. Love hearing stuff like people using Teslas and VR to list on List Easier. That kind of blows my mind, but it also feels amazing.